One of the most eclectic filmmakers of the modern era has returned once again. That's right, Steven Soderbergh's new film releases in theaters this weekend. It's called Black Bag and features a uber talented cast headlined by Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett. And we've got all the details, spoiler free, right now.
This is Popcorn for Breakfast, presented by St. Louis Area Smoothie Kings. Now, here are your hosts, Cam and Kirk.
Thank you for being here on another episode of Popcorn for Breakfast. Kirk is here.
Hello.
I'm glad to have you, Kirk. And we're talking about, this is a filmmaker that I really like, Steven Soderbergh. He's been around the industry for a really long time. He's won an Academy Award for directing for Traffic back in 2001. He's been nominated for Best Directing twice. You look at his filmography, he's got tons of huge films in there. Aaron Brockovich, you look at Ocean's 11. I mean, huge, ginormous films. And I said eclectic in the open.
Yeah.
He's the kind of filmmaker who does what he wants. You know, he's not somebody who stays in one particular lane. There are themes throughout his career. He's done a couple of spy movies now, like this one that we're reviewing today, Black Bag. He's done a few movies about infectious diseases, viruses spreading around. You've got Contagion and Side Effects and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's done some heist movies. He's done some comedies. He's done a little bit of everything. So when you think of Steven Soderbergh, you obviously have the highlight films there, some of which I mentioned. What do you think about when you think of this director?
Like which movie or like
feelings? anything.
Yeah.
Like do you get good feelings when you hear the name Steven Soderbergh? Or
every time? Yeah, every time, good feelings. Eclectic is the perfect word. I'm so glad you got to do the opening instead of my possible attempt at it. I just think that you had the right word that you grabbed out there, as you often do. I really gravitate towards Aaron Brockovich because that's one of those movies that is like hyped and hyped and hyped. Like, oh, it's all-time best performances. It's so good. And then you watch it and it delivers on every single front.
Yes.
So that one is immediately struck over Ocean's 11, even though Ocean's 11, I think, reshaped how heist movies are made.
Yes.
Yeah. Like the sequence, the narrative sequence of them saying what they're going to be doing and then being in it sometimes and then not. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Like if I think about a fun movie, Ocean's 11 almost immediately comes to mind. Just like so entertaining and just there's it's so dynamic, it's so energetic. There's so many great personalities, so many great characters. I think that's one of the other kind of hallmarks of his career is just like his movies tend to have excellent characters, and he doesn't often write the movies that he directs.
No.
He's partnered with the writer of this film, David Koepp, who's a very accomplished screenwriter, wrote Jurassic Park, wrote Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi one. He's written all kinds of Mission Impossible. He's written huge movies. And so it's interesting that there's these kind of like trends in his career that, he seems to understand the movies that he's directing and be very specific about his projects. But I really do think that it comes down to he just does what interests him. Mm-hmm. And that's how I try to live my life too. Like I just want to do things that are interesting to me because that makes things more, it just means that I'll be passionate about whatever I'm doing. And I think it really shows in his filmmaking. And I'm super excited to talk about this one. I mentioned it at the open. Spy movie.
Dun, 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 dun,
yeah,
dun,
I mean,
dun, dun.
Who doesn't love a spy movie? It's the best. I mean, I think it's, sure, it's a little.
Tell us if you don't like spy movies.
I mean, they're out there.
Tell us.
They're out there. The anti-spy movie people are out there, and that's fine. It's, as a genre, you could poke holes in it. You could say it's a little hokey, it's a little cliche, but man, it's just fun. There's something nostalgic about it. There's something just, I don't know. There's just something to it.
The danger of it all, right? Like that there are people out there right now doing this job of espionage.
It's very intriguing. And I like that it's kind of a whodunit without being a whodunit. Like it's not a murder mystery, but it is a mystery still to kind of figure out what's going on. So that's where we're at. We got a Steven Soderbergh movie to talk about in March. And what's crazy is this isn't even his first theatrical release of the year.
Right.
He had a movie released earlier this year called Presence, which I haven't gotten to see yet.
With Lucy Liu.
Yeah. And speaking to the word eclectic again, that movie is like a horror adjacent movie where it's like this family's being haunted by a supernatural entity, and the whole film is shot from that perspective of the entity.
Right.
Super crazy and so
like,
different from this.
Like Nickel Boys, but with a horror vibe.
Like Nickel Boys meets Paranormal Activity.
Yes.
is what that is. So it's really interesting, but I'm super excited to talk about this one, Black Bag. I'll tell you what I'm not super excited about. Oh yeah, sure, Kirk. You want to talk about your prop? You're the prop guy.
Yeah. So guys, like if you're watching on YouTube, if you're not, that's okay. But join us on YouTube anytime for this video or any other. Popcorn for breakfast. Easy to find us. I brought a little black bag. It might be a lunchbox, but it is a black bag.
Is it a lunchbox?
It is absolutely a lunchbox.
It looks very
What's rigid and
chic.
Yeah, thank you.
Minimalist.
It's rigid and it has like a hard internal part. That way you can put cold stuff in and containers.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with the movie, but I did bring a black bag.
I'll tell you what does have to do with the movie is that in this reminder, this is a spoiler-free movie review. You're not going to get any spoilers from us, but it's worth noting what the title of the movie means, which is not a spoiler in any way, shape, or form, which is in the same way that we have no idea, at least I don't. You brought it. You probably know what's in this bag. The characters in the movie often use the term black bag to let you know that there's something that they're doing that they cannot reveal the details of. So if you ask them a question about something and they say black bag, that means can't say anything. It's under lock and key. The end.
Which I would like to implement in my regular life.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Like, hey Cam, what are you doing today after work?
Black bag.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. And then you back off. That's it. There's no prying. And you can't get mad about it. It's because it concerns national safety and security.
Yeah. Or it just means I don't want to talk to Kirk. I think that's so yeah, let's do that. Kirk's gonna get so many black bag texts. It's just gonna be an emoji. Just like leave me alone. It's gonna be bad actually. Let's not
look out for those screenshots.
But what I will say that I'm not excited about for this review is that unfortunately you get to go first on our superlatives. Of course, if you're new to the show, what we do every time is we break our reviews down into 5 categories. We talk about In the Oscar Goes To, which is the best actor, Scene Stealer, which is like the kind of breakout under what would you call
it?
Understated performance. What am I looking for?
Best supporting actor?
Unsung. That's what I was looking for. Unsung performance. Showstopper, which is the aspect of the film we like the most. Director Shoes, which is the aspect we would have changed if we were the directors. And then Last Looks, which is going to be our wrap up and our final score. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Well, you're going first. Kirk, and the Oscar goes to
Marissa Abela.
Oh wow!
Yes,
I had her on my list. I'm surprised that this is your pick for Oscar, though. This is great.
Thank you. This film is comprised of 6 main characters and plus 2 other side characters that are important, but there's really 6 that we come to the table to learn about their lives, to learn what this whole mystery is about and why, who, what, where, when, and why it all is important to these characters, and then to us as people viewing this film. I really latched onto this character early on because Marissa plays a character. She is the youngest team member of this group of spies or agents in this large organization, but she's quite skilled. She comes to the table with a lot of spunk, young energy, and the thing that really won me over with her is that she gets a full monologue that fully engrosses us with what the black bag is, and more than how it relates to just those people in their world, but it's about secrecy, right? So Cam, what are you doing after work today? Black bag. I'm still intrigued. I have to back off. I know I have to back off, but that secrecy, what is that secrecy protecting on his side? What is that secrecy destroying on the other side? And we can't do anything about it because that's the safe word, if you will, that these people and this organization has agreed upon to compartmentalize things. I love that that secrecy is at the heart of this, how it can, again, just absolutely destroy someone's life depending on that secret. And is the secret there as like a white lie to help protect someone else? You never know until you dig and you dig. And everything about her unveiling what black bag is, they start to use it at the beginning of the film, and she finally gives us the definition, just melts your heart and you just feel everything that she's feeling. So Marissa Abela.
Yeah, I love this character as well. I think there's a fierceness with her. There's a confidence, um, but there's also kind of a genuineness. You know,
Hmm.
there's this they're in this world of I don't even know that they. I'll probably get smeared in the comments for this. I don't know that they ever like give you too much details of what organization they work for, but it's just presumed that it's like British Central Intelligence. It does They don't say like MI6 or anything to my knowledge.
Pause. It's important to know that at the beginning of our screening, the theater forgot to turn off the lights.
Yes.
I went twice for help. I failed twice. No one would help me. Finally, 10 minutes into this movie, the lights turned off. So,
Well, you missed the Novocaine screening last night. The
oh,
lights were on the whole time.
no, they were
Literally
not.
the whole time.
No.
They don't know. They don't know how to turn them off.
Same theater?
Yeah. It's not different auditorium, but same theater.
I'm going to go.
Who shall remain nameless? It'll be
I'm going to go get employed there.
Yeah.
Just so I know how to work the lights and then quit.
And then quit. Yeah, just do the training. That's
Yes.
smart. I like that. Um, but I digress. They don't tell you much about this agency
Mhm.
that they work for, but just the idea of Central Intelligence and what it means to be a spy, what it means to live a life of secrecy. She seems to really wear it more than most because I think it's presumed she's a little bit newer. She's
Right.
definitely the youngest. It's just a very well done character, and it's a really good performance from Marissa Abella. So
Mhm.
great choice. Like I said, I had her on my list of possible choices. My and the Oscar is going to go to a two-time Academy Award winner, Cate Blanchett, who Kirk is not a huge fan of traditionally. Though I think Kirk, even when you have your grudges against certain people, it's usually it's usually for good reason,
Yes.
and you're quick to acknowledge when they give a good performance. You're not just like I hate this person forever and always, no matter what. Like I can't remember what movie it was. Might have been Tar or something. Like
Yeah.
you were like Cate Blanchett was excellent.
Yes.
Not my fave, but she did a fantastic job.
That's right.
I am a big Cate Blanchett fan. I've been a huge fan of following her career. And here's what I'll say about this role. She plays the character Catherine St. John, who is one half of a spy couple a la Mr. and Mrs. Smith in this movie. She is married to Michael Fassbender's character, and they're kind of the main two in this 6-person core of people
Mhm.
that the plot revolves around. And what I will say about this is that this is really right in her pocket, right? Like this kind of role, shrouded in mystery, this very like confident, stoic. Um, I mean, you could use any number of adjectives to describe it. Basically, you'd be describing Cate Blanchett. I mean, this character is perfect for her.
She is a spy in real life.
Yeah, I mean, she could be. She really just like slides right into this so effortlessly. But it's the details with her. It's always been that with Cate Blanchett. And there's one scene in particular where she's talking to a therapist, and she just owns that scene, commands the room, does so many little tiny things to build her character in a way that she doesn't have to explain with exposition. She's telling us everything we need to know about her character through these tiny expressions and these little things that she does and the way that she sighs or scoffs or whatever. I mean, that is what you get from somebody with this level of talent. It's a pleasure to watch her go to work. And even though this one was like, she's got extraordinary range, but this was right kind of in the center of her range where she's comfortable. Even with that, you have to just sit back and go, wow, watch a master at work.
Yeah, one of the things I appreciated most of hers, and I didn't appreciate this till after I thought about the movie.
Mhm.
This is going to be a movie that you're going to like instantly, we hope, and then you're going to grow to love it even more afterwards. So her voice was distracting me. I didn't like. She's done a lot of her characters. She's very, very specific with her voice work.
Yep.
And her voice was so low, and I'm like, why is she using the bottom of her register of her vocal cords? And then I thought, well, a spy world is traditionally a man's world. So she's intentionally, I think, lowering her voice register to be a part of this world, to have not bass, but to have that the most alto in her voice to be able to blend in and command the room. That is so specific from an actor's choice that it made me appreciate this performance. This is one of the three performances that I like of Cate Blanchett's.
Absolutely. Oh, that's a great call. Really great call. Let's move on to Scene Stealer,
Yes.
Kirk. There, it's not a ton of options, but the options are great.
Mhm.
In my opinion, I think this cast rocks. Who'd you go with?
They're juicy. They are juicy. I think I'm going to pull the rug out right from underneath you, and I'm going to select Mr. Tom Burke.
Yeah. Luckily, I saw that coming, and so I was like, Kirk's going to take Tom Burke. I don't even have to worry about that.
Oh.
So I was able to plan around it.
let me throw some movies out here that hopefully some people have seen. His list is crazy. He's been doing this since 1999, but I feel like only recently, over the past like maybe 10 years, has the films that he's been in really told who he is as an actor. Only God Forgives, big Ryan Gosling film. We've got not that one. That one's terrible. The Souvenir, which was a big movie. Mank. He was in The Crown for one episode as Dazzle Jennings for all you Crown folk out there. Of course, he was in Furiosa, a Mad Max saga as Praetorian Jack. So
he's on the come up.
He knows exactly what he's doing. Oh, if you saw the Florence Pugh movie, The Wonder, Netflix movie, he's a big role in there. So he's all over the place. His fingerprints are everywhere, and more, I think he's getting the notoriety that he needs. He is someone in this cast that you can't look away from. Again, with every single one of these characters, any one of their motives could turn at any moment. That's what makes the danger of this so exciting. Him in particular, you don't know which way. You're like, at one moment, you're like, oh, he's up to something bad. Maybe he's going to blow up the world. I don't know. And then the other moment, you're like, oh, I feel sad for him, like he's throwing all these different colors out with his performance, and it's really quite a mosaic to watch and wonder about.
That's a great choice. I love Tom Burke. I think that he's got a lot of talent. I think the stuff that he does with this character in this movie is crazy. I think there is a ton of really good character building from him. So many details that he builds into it. I really love this performance for him, and definitely would have taken him if you'd have left him on the board. Luckily, I knew you would not. So I'm going to go in a different direction for my scene stealer. I'm going to Regé-Jean Page of Bridgerton fame. I've never watched Bridgerton, but I know all the Bridgerton fans are crazy about Regé-Jean Page. He's
post-production. Play the Bridgerton theme right here, just so we don't get sued.
Yeah, let's put that in the notes.
Yep.
Good. Yeah, he's been cast in a bunch of things recently. Bridgerton shot him to the moon. I really like this guy, though. I think that he's got a lot of skill, and I think that, I don't know much about his range so far, but I really love him in this sort of like Boy Scout type role, but also like he's got a good, arrogant kind of cockiness to him too. It's actually kind of similar to the role that he had in Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, which I thought he was great in that too.
Yes.
But he had more of a comedic touch to him, as everything did in that movie, just based on the tone of the movie.
Yep.
But in this movie, as a spy, this is the guy who's like, you get the sense that maybe he comes from a military background. He was really good in school. There's just so many little things about him. The way he carries himself, the way he talks to people, the way he moves. You're like, this guy is a climber. He wants to get to the top of wherever he's going. And he did all the little things right in this one. He doesn't get a ton of dialogue, really, comparatively. Lots of these characters get these big monologues. I don't feel like, looking back, that he gets that many, but he has a lot of good scenes. He and his scene partners seem to click really well. There's good chemistry. I liked everything he was doing in this movie.
And he's possibly going to be the next James Bond. He is a contender.
Yeah.
He's a contender.
What do you think about that, being the resident Bond guy?
I don't want him for Bond.
Yeah.
I think he'd play a good villain, actually.
I think he'd be
Bond.
a great villain.
Yeah.
I think that
he's tall, dark, and handsome,
yes.
right? Like, look at him. He could be menacing with that physical build of his.
I know.
So we'll see.
Yeah, he's got a lot. I'm excited to see more from him, because I do think the range could be there. I just haven't seen it yet. But yeah, there are flashes where you're like, man, what would he be like in this kind of role? And I think that he's just kind of expanding it, and he'll get there. He's got people, his phone's probably ringing off the hook. So it'll only be a matter of time. Okay, let's talk about the production of this movie. Let's talk about our director, Steven Soderbergh, and cinematographer, actually. Little known fact, Steven Soderbergh, it's not a little known fact. He acts as the DP on a lot of his films.
Dr. Pepper?
No, as the director of photography or cinematographer on his films, usually under a pseudonym, which is, what is the pseudonym?
That's funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he usually, like, if you go to his IMDb, I'm going to pull it up right now because I can't remember. It's like something Peterson.
So is it like the
or
worst?
Peter something? But anyway, he is on most of his films, so he has directed, this is his 34th feature film. And on the majority of them, he is also the cinematographer. And he does so under the name Peter Andrews.
Wow.
So that's just like the pseudonym. Now, I didn't read the credits of Black Bag because you and I were conversating about the movie
Uh-huh.
afterwards to see if he went under that. And in IMDb, it doesn't say that he was as Peter Andrews, but I'm sure he was.
We'll report back later.
Yeah. So let's talk about this movie. Maybe it is the cinematography. Maybe it's something else. Kirk, what's your showstopper?
I've got a little nugget, and then I've got a bigger one,
Okay.
like a real scene. So the nugget I have is that again, in the theme of Black Bag. I can't tell you what's hiding in the shadows and what evidence are we able to see as the audience. So light and dark. There's so much fun use with light and dark. So which is why it was critical that the lights to our theater were off, because when the first 10 minutes go, you can't really see anything because the movie it's got low lights to it, but not the whole thing. So if you're like, I like bright movies, don't worry, there's plenty of light, but there's a couple of opening sequences that are a little bit darker. They're in dining rooms, they're in the evening, right? So the motion, the work, the specificity of dark and lightness throughout, where that light is shining specifically on a person, on an object, on a place, is very important. It was fantastic. My specific scene that I loved so much has to be when they're in a space where there's a control room, and there's like 50 plus screens looking at the world, like sensitive places in the world, and that entire sequence that plays out. I can't tell you a thing about this scene without being spoiler
Right.
full. So again, it's fantastic when you get to that moment when you're watching this film. Just sit back and relax, because let Michael Fassbender and Marissa Abela specifically take you the lead on that. They're very wonderful in navigating how that all works. It's very just masterfully done.
Great calls on both accounts, Kirk. I couldn't agree more. And I'm going to talk a little bit about Michael Fassbender because we didn't get to talk about it, but
No.
we did say that there are other people in this cast who do an awesome job. Also, Michael Fassbender being the lead does a fantastic job. Didn't get picked for us, but that doesn't mean that he does a bad job. Naomi Harris and of course Pierce Brosnan, which I actually really like the work that Pierce did in this movie. So there's a lot to like here, and one of my showstoppers. I'm gonna follow your lead and do a little nugget and a bigger, a more in depth one. My little nugget is the characters and the lack thereof. I like that we have a tight knit core group. We're able to, I would describe this movie. It's like a tight 90. It's really well paced. This is like all killer, no filler, right? And these characters and the way that they do it, it's exactly how you want it. There's just enough characters, not too many, not too few, and they're all well fleshed out. They're detailed enough. They don't bury you in exposition to explain what's going on with every character, but it's just the exact right balance. And I love that in these types of movies where you have a spy type situation or an espionage situation, you could really fill up the cast with all sorts of different miscellaneous characters, different locations with different set pieces, whatever. They really are disciplined and stick to the people that we are most interested in and don't bog us down with subplots and all this other stuff. So I really love the character choice, and the casting that went with that too was really excellent. My more detailed piece that I really like is going to go to the cinematography. I love the use of long lenses in this movie by our director and DP, Steven Soderbergh, or Peter Andrews, whichever you prefer to call him. The use of long lenses, why that matters. So a long lens is going to be something that's like 70 millimeters or higher. And what it's going to do to the scene is it's going to narrow your field of view, and it's going to shrink the focal depth. And so what that does is it compresses things. And so everything on the outskirts of the shot and behind the subject is going to be fuzzy. It's going to be blurry. And in a spy movie where you've got really, we're kind of behind one character for most of this time who's trying to figure this thing out. It's the Michael Fassbender character is the main one. And we're kind of seeing everything through his perspective. And so he One thing about his character, they say very early in the film, is that he does not like liars, and he always knows when someone's lying to him.
Mhm.
So these long lenses give you the ability to see things as he sees them, super zoomed in on the person. It makes every dialogue shot, whenever they're editing back and forth, feel very intimate, and it makes the whole thing feel just romantic and spy and just exactly how you want it to feel, kind of compressed, fuzzy, where you're really just focusing on the faces. So it's a great choice. It's a choice Steven Soderbergh makes a lot. He's a fan of the long lens, and I thought it was excellent.
Yeah, almost dreamlike in
Yes.
certain
Yeah.
sequences.
Absolutely.
Where you're just like, wow, what am I watching even?
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Excellent.
Well, let's move on to the other side. What are the things you don't like about this movie, Kirk? If you were in the director's shoes, what would you have done?
Black bag.
You're just gonna plead the fifth here on this one.
Black bag.
Yeah.
I will say that the only criticism that I really have is that I thought it was 10 minutes too short. I really thought that we needed a tag at the end of this movie, and maybe not even 10 minutes. Maybe it would have been 4. I don't know.
You're like a scene.
A scene.
Maybe.
I just wanted something else. It stops. And I can appreciate why it ended how it ended. I wanted a little tag, and I don't often say that. I really want things to end when the writer wants them to end. I do not like multiple ending movies. I think that can kill a movie by multiple points. But I just needed something slightly longer. But I also will hold the right that I might feel differently when I rewatch this movie, and I want to rewatch it immediately.
Yeah, I totally agree. My director's shoes is very similar. I do think the ending is a bit muddled. So I don't know if it's an extra scene that's needed, or maybe just some air, let it breathe a little bit, let us soak in the information. And it would go directly against the pace of the entire film, which is a very like torridly paced film with lots of things happening, getting lots of information quickly. But I do feel like I wasn't able to fully grasp exactly each piece of it, which at the end of a spy movie, you want to know every little mechanism of the plan that has unfolded. And I didn't feel like I totally got that. That said, similar to you, on a rewatch, I have no doubt that I'll be able to fill in any gaps that are remaining. I still grasp like the primary themes, exactly what they were going for, where it landed, but I want to know all the little details. And I felt like we moved a little too quickly through that to fully let that soak in. So I would have liked that. The other thing, you mentioned low light in this movie and the use of lighting. There was something, so going back to the cameras, which I almost never talk about cameras, and here I am talking about cameras all the time. I researched the camera a little bit because I was curious about what they were going for from a look perspective. And the camera they used is a red V-Raptor digital. It's a digital camera. Steven Soderbergh is a big digital guy. It's a $25,000 camera, and it specializes in ultra low light shooting.
That's what we have here in the studio.
Yeah,
you're watching it right here.
3
guys.
of them, 75K, just chilling. That's why I never give out my address. No, but one of the things that they use with the lighting that bothered me was the lights have so much halation around them. So this is whenever you see like a light in a movie, and it's not just, the light isn't just contained within the light bulb area, it spreads. Like there's
like a stigmatism.
Like if you have astigmatism
when you drive at night, and the stoplights are like starbursts.
The light particles like splatter around, and it creates a really cool effect. And a lot of modern movies that are, and TV shows that are shot on digital use something called the diffusion filter to achieve this look, because it is that more nostalgic. It makes the movie look a little more hazy. I thought it was over the top in this movie at times. I thought there were times where the lights were like distracting. There was so much halation and there was so much haze on the screen. It wasn't always, but sometimes, particularly in scenes that were outside at night and things like that, it was just too much going on to really like focus your eyes. So, I get why they did it, because they want to create that melodramatic, nostalgic kind of feel, that dreamy feel that you were talking about. And it's effective at that, but sometimes it's overdone.
Maybe Steven Soderbergh's eyes are going, and he didn't know that. When he watched it back, he was like, the focus is off, but it was fine.
They got into the editor room and they're like, dang it, the whole thing.
Steven.
No, I think it was intentional. It's a personal, like, little nitpick of mine. let's move into last looks. Kirk, eager to hear what else you have to say and your score on this film, Black Bag.
I think the unique fingerprints of each of the characters make this a very unique spy thriller. I think there are a couple of moments of quirkiness that we get from the characters, but it never crosses genres. It doesn't try to blend genres. It's not like a rom-com and Bond thing. Like they're not attempting to do anything insane, but they are heightening the genre. So maybe you're not a spy fan, maybe you're not an espionage fan, like we said at the top, but maybe you're a fan of one of these actors and you're like, you know what, I'm going to go see that for that. I'm going to see what's going on. And it's very different than other spy and espionage movies. Um, I really, really, really enjoyed this movie, and I think my score is going to go up by the next time I see this. But right now, it is an 8.7 out of 10 kernels.
All right. Um, I feel similarly in that I do feel like my score is going to go up. I really wrestled with this one because of that, because I'm like, I really feel like this is one. First of all, I want to rewatch it at my earliest convenience, and I'm excited to kind of soak in those extra details that I was kind of left wanting for by the end of this first screening. But I don't know what more to say that I haven't already said. The cast is fantastic. I think the screenplay really works. It's really punchy. It's tight. It's a fun movie. It's the characters are excellent, as I said. And I feel like if you come in for a spy movie, you're getting all that in spades. You get exactly what you want, which is always exciting. You know, you don't want them to underplay their hand or anything like that. And I feel like you get the intense sequences that you want. You get the mystery aspect of it. It's just it really delivers on all of those fronts. Right now, I'm at a 7.9 on this movie. I do think it will get into the 8 territory on a rewatch. But I couldn't go there just yet because I need to make sure that all that stuff that I want to clicks. So 7.9, I still feel like this is certainly one of the best movies of 2025 so far, if not the best that I've seen so far.
I think it is
this year. So yeah, Black Bag.
Yeah. And on that note, I want to show you what's inside the black bag, Cam.
Oh no.
That's right.
Is it a confetti cannon? I'm so scared.
I'm aiming it towards me. Don't worry. You said you wanted to rewatch this movie right now.
I do.
How about a pirated copy? Just kidding.
Oh man, I was excited.
There's nothing.
Except for that we would be like delisted or something like that. Focus features would be like, hey, hold on.
Nothing inside the black bag because I can't reveal my true secrets.
And because it's a MacGuffin.
That's right.
And there are some MacGuffins in this movie.
For sure.
There's a big one. And I who doesn't love a MacGuffin?
I myself am a MacGuffin.
Kirk is not real. He's just a fake thing that we allude to. He's a concept. And on that note, thank you so much for being here for this spoiler-free review of Black Bag. Very fun movie. If you see it, I'm interested to hear what people have to say on this one. I always am interested to hear, but I think I don't know. It's kind of like a murder mystery where sometimes they hit and sometimes they don't with you. I think it's like a very personal thing. It depends on how your mind puts the pieces together. Like I remember seeing Knives Out with you.
Yeah.
And so many people loved Knives Out. I do love Knives Out. I love the way it looks and I love the screenplay and the characters and all that. But the reveal for me was kind of like, like a little lackluster. And so many people were like, oh, I couldn't believe it. So I do. And I don't say that to be like, I am smarter and I had already figured it out. No, but like seriously, it's all about your expectations and where your head is at with these things. So that's why I'm interested to hear if anybody out there is like terrible, super predictable. I would be like, wow, that's crazy. Let me know. So let us know once you see Black Bag this weekend. Go see it in theaters. Steven Soderbergh works hard to make good films and should be rewarded for doing so. But other than that, if you're looking for other reviews, if you're looking for more content, we have a ton of content coming this week. Tons of movie reviews. We're in this kind of like ebb and flow thing, but we've got this Black Bag review. We've got a Novocaine review coming out later this week and a blog post on the day the Earth blew up, the Looney Tunes movie.
And then last week we posted on the guinea fowl movie. What's it called?
Yeah, On a Guinea Fowl. Yes, on Becoming a Guinea Fowl from A24. So we've got
so much this
tons of review content. We're going to be looking to get back into more news content as well. So let us know what you want to hear more from us. We're so happy you decided to tune into this video. We want to give a special thanks to our executive producer, Ryan, our title sponsor, St. Louis Area Smoothie Kings, of course, all of you for tuning in to this episode. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything whenever we have new episodes upload, and we will see you next time.
Talk to you then.